Well, let's talk a bit about the weather that you're experiencing, especially coming off that Discovery Day holiday weekend. We had some great weather across the Bahamas, and here we're seeing some scattered clouds showing up this morning. Of course, we're seeing also some clouds protruding from a system that's now a Paula, tropical storm Paula, moving up into the area. This area of cloudiness that you see is associated with that system. Let's take a look at our satellite imagery with infrared technology. We've got some cloud coverage again. Pretty much the Atlantic seems to be pretty clear, but of course this is the active time for the Caribbean basin, and we're seeing some activity there as we speak. Most of the Bahamas will have some scattered clouds and some showers nearing the central Bahamas as a trough sits right down to the southeast, and dome of high pressure, albeit weak, remains across this most of the central and northern Bahamas through today. Showers over the east coast of Florida, some over Bimini, some showers showing up south of Nassau, and showers to the southwest of Andros. Some showers down near Key South Bank. Here in the northern Bahamas were pretty good. No problems at all to worry about. For today, beautiful across the nation, 10 to 15 knots from the north-northeast, 5 knots, 5 to 10 knots north of around Baker's Bay. You should have 5 to 10 knots in Green Turtle, Cooperstown, and Spanish Key, 5 to 10 knots. Walker's also 5 to 10 knots. Here in central and south Abaco, 10 to 15. The nation's capital, 10 to 15. Grand Bahama, 10 to 15. Down in the remainder of the Bahamas, 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet offshore. Excellent for boating, coming off that great holiday weekend with great boating conditions and lots of sunshine occurring yesterday. Let's take a look into the tropics for you. Again, it has been a very busy tropical season as they had forecast, and so more to come. Here we have Paula. Look at this down in the Caribbean basin, right off the Central America. Got this tropical storm hurricane will be coming up, and the forecast models are not certain where this storm will go. A couple of the models call for it to, let me just go back for a minute. A few models call for it to come on up just to the Yucatan Peninsula, between the Yucatan Peninsula, then over Cuba, and then make a turn back to the southeast. That's one of the models, but take a look at this. Another model shows it, look at it, one of the models shows it coming over Havana, then going back southwest towards Jamaica. But this model shows it coming up towards the, between Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula, then making a beeline to the northeast through the Florida Straits, directly across the nation's capital. And so this storm bears some watching. Look at this. Right there is Nassau. And so, of course, you know, this far out predicting the actual direction of a storm, errors could be extremely large because just one variation left or right, of course, by a few degrees could put this storm way up here as opposed to there, or way down there as opposed to where it is forecast today. Generally being this far out, they always get it wrong, but we're going to watch this storm. As you see, one of those tracks puts it right across North Andros, right through nation's capital, and across North Eleuthera before it makes its exit. But, of course, there's a model that brings it up across Havana and back down. So we just have to watch this storm. We do know that historically, this time of year, when storms develop in the Caribbean basin, they do come up towards the north and over the Bahamas. So we're going to be watching this one over the course of the next few days. Well, this, again, I believe, will be largely influenced by this low-pressure center here, the frontal system. If this front moves down in time, it will suck that storm up and ride along this storm as it makes its way. And so that could happen, bring this down before the weekend. and it could kick that storm out south of the Bahamas. If that occurs, then that doesn't happen. We've got a pretty strong high pressure that's behind this frontal system, and the high is going to block it. If the ridge of the high comes down far enough, it will block that storm from coming up towards the northern Bahamas. So there are a number of elements that's working in our favor that we will be watching over the next 72 hours in regards to Paula, where it will actually go. Tomorrow, 10 knots of wind, beautiful east to southeast over North Abaco and Baker's Bay, and even at the folks in Man of War Key, you can see 5 to 10 knots very possible. Anywhere north of 27 north latitude, you'll see 5 to 10 knots. 10 knots over the nation's capital, excellent for those cruise ships coming in, excellent offshore. 10 knots east to southeast, a great improvement over what we experienced the last few days. 10 knots southeast to south on Thursday. Northerly swells, well, we got to take that out. That's not accurate. I should have deleted that. We won't have any swells. Whale Key will be just all right. 10 knots over the southeast Bahamas, 10 knots as we go across Eleuthera, 10 knots east to southeast, and of course beautiful into the southern Bahamas. And take a look at your boating forecast for you. Seas 2 to 4 feet offshore in the northern Bahamas. Winds will be 10 to 15 knots from the northeast. Whale Key will be just all right. We should have nothing to worry about as far as Whale Key is concerned. Boating will be excellent, and you can go on out and enjoy boating if you want to do so this weekend. Looking at the, let's go back to our map here for the boating forecast. Go back for just a minute and bring you what is actually going on in the Abacos. There we go. 10 to 15 knots northeast to east. Whale Key's okay. The southern Bahamas 10 to 15 knots northeast to east. 2 to 4 foot seas offshore. Tides low at 6 a.m. high at 12:24 today, and low tonight at 7 p.m. It's a beautiful, beautiful day to be in the Bahamas. And that's a look at your weather today, and brought to you by our partners at Sky Bahamas Limited.